Hello friends, welcome back to CCSP certified channel. My name is Rag and I have 14 years of industry experience. I have recently cleared CCSP exam and decided to prepare this video series for important topics because soundness of concept is very important to clear this exam. So this is my last video in the cryptography series, and as I mentioned, there will be around 8 to 10 questions from this series itself, and I will cover the TLS questions, that is the sample questions, some questions from CCSP guide, and some questions that I have seen in my exam. So TLS itself 3 to 4 question comes. So my suggestion is have a look at the TLS concept video that I have prepared before this video. So those are very important videos to look into this, and I will show the question how to attempt those questions on the TLS part. And as I mentioned before also, I am starting my batch soon for CCSP exam. So if you want to enroll for a dedicated batch, you can write to me at the ccspcertified@gmail.com. Now I will do a quick recap, then we'll come to the topic of the day. So as we have seen in previous videos, three most important concepts are confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation. And the mechanisms to achieve this is, for confidentiality is encryption, integrity is hashing, non-repudiation is digital signature. We also have seen in previous video about the PKI. The PKI is, what is the role of the PKI? It's sort of a governing body. We have a CARA, and it issue, store, and revoke the digital certificate. And digital certificate is X509 certificates. These are mainly public keys, and that is signed by CA. So it is tamper-proof public keys, because the whole cryptography lies on the public keys and private key relationship only. We also have seen the TLS or SSL certificate, that we have seen that when we data in the rest, we go with the AES. In transit, we go to TLS. In TLS also we have seen different versions, and in the detail use of PKI in that one. So far we have seen the concept, how even in the last video we have seen how the handshake happens. But if you don't want to go in detail, at least you should remember that in handshake we use public key to set up symmetric keys, and there is a record steps. So the handshake step and record step. Record step, we exchange the message, and we also seen that we use the certificate. There is a digital certificate. Here the PKI play the role. So the digital certificate PKI is used to establish the trust. So client don't know server, server don't know client. Trust get established by this certificate only. So far we have seen this one. Now we will see the exam questions. We will cover a few sample questions here, and we'll see the exam question also. So first question is, a part of TLS, which protocol handles the actual secure communication and transmission of the data? Is it handshake? It is transfer? It is negotiation? Or is it record? So as we have seen that the communication of the data is a part of record. So that is the correct answer. So record is the one. So this type of questions also comes. This I have taken from the sample question paper. There is one question I have taken from the CCSP question bank itself. So transport layer security TLS provide which, and which for communication. As we have seen that three important concepts of cryptography: the confidentiality, integrity, or the privacy. We also call sometimes confidentiality as a privacy. So TLS provide this both confidentiality and integrity, because the data is over internet. So data should not be seen by an unauthorized person and should not be modified. So privacy, security, same term. Sometimes we have to see the answer and need to select the best option. So privacy, security is the same term. Security and optimization, there is no concept of optimization TLS. Enhancement and privacy is there, but there is no enhancement. And definitely confidentiality and integrity being achieved via the TLS. The next question is, TLS use a new ... for each secure connection. So TLS use what for every new secure connection? Do it use a new symmetric key for every connection? Do it use new asymmetric key? Do it use new public key private key pair, or do you use inverse comparison? So sometimes some options are just the destructor. Those terms we haven't seen, we can rule out those. So D option is definitely not the option. And we have seen that the handshake provide the setup of symmetric key. So every time when there is a handshake happens, there is a new symmetric key. So
So transport layer security TLS always use new symmetric key for each secure connection. This is from CCSP question bank exam. This is how the CCSP asks the questions. They have given the sample question, 1000 sample questions. So this is also from the question bank. The TLS uses this is to authenticate a connection and create a shared secret for the duration of the session. So what it used to authenticate a connection. So if you see there is a options that server has sent a certificate, and that certificate is being used by the client to authenticate, because then client has sent a request to the CA, and they have verified the digital certificate, and then they extracted the key from there. So they're asking that what is being used to authenticate a connection and create a shared secret. Shared secret is symmetric key. So create a symmetric key. What is being used to authenticate a connection? So if you see, so there is a SAML. We haven't seen a SAML use case in TLS. There is 802.11.x that we have seen as of now. We haven't seen that whether Diffie-Hellman being used, but we have seen the X509 certificate, and that we have covered that this is called as a digital certificate. So they haven't written the digital certificate directly here. They have used indirectly that X509 certificate. So you should be aware that the X509 certificate is a digital certificate that is being used. Server send it for the server authentication, and client also send optionally for the client authentication, though client certificate is not mandatory in the TLS setup. The next question, that's also from CCSP question bank. The TLS protocol creates a secure connection channel over public media, internet. In a typical TLS section, who initiates this protocol? That who initiates the TLS connection process? That we have seen that the hello message comes from the client. So it is the client who initiates the message first, initiate the connection first. The answer is the client. So if we are just have seen this flow once, you will able to give the answer of all this question very easily. They will not ask in deep, but they will ask many questions from that section. So if we have seen, this is the question banks the CCSP has given, and we have seen that few questions that quite easy to give answer if you know the concept well. This is also taken from CCSP question bank. In the TLS protocol, create a secure communication channel over public media such as internet. In typical TLS connection, what is usually means for establishing trust between the parties. So what is way of establishing trust between the parties? Is the out-open authentication? There is no authentication we are doing. We have exchanged the public certificate that is being used for the trust to set up. Multi-factor authentication, there is no multi-factor authentication we have seen. The public infrastructure certificate, yes. Now they have changed the way of asking the question. So like in previous question, they have asked this by giving the X509 certificate. They might have given the digital certificate. Now this time they have given the PKI certificates. So this is same. The way of asking has changed. The question is same. The language has modified a bit, and same happens in the exam. In exam, they will write a story before writing this question, and in the end the meaning will be same. So you have to first understand the question first, and when you observe the answers, you will see that you have seen the similar question in the sample banks, but they have changed the way of asking. The answer is public infrastructure. The last is their destructor, which is not a valid in this case. This is also one of the question from CCSP question bank. In the infrastructure as a service arrangement. So as you might be aware, there are three ways: ASP, PAS, and SAS. In ASP, all of the following are example of object storage encryption except. So so this is a little out of syllabus question, because I haven't teach this one. But if you might be aware, that's good. Otherwise, if you are not aware, at least you can give the answer from the basic concept as I mentioned. So he has said that in ASP, the object storage is being used to store the data. So what is the encryption mechanism? It is being used to store the data except, which is not being used. File level encryption, it might be, we don't know, because we haven't teach this. DRM, digital right management, it might be, we don't know. Application level security, it might be. TLS, it cannot be, but because we have seen in very first slide, and this is being asked different ways this time. Data in rest is always AES. Data in transit is TLS. So when there is a data and transition will happen, only TLS will come. If the data in rest, because the object storage is when the data is the rest is the use case, it will use AES or other mechanisms to store the data, but there is no way to use the TLS in this one. So we can give the answer though we don't know the other concept. So this type of questions also come in the exam when you don't know, or they looks out of the syllabus, but they test your concept. So they expect that at least you know object storage data is in rest. At least you know, then you know that TLS you cannot use. So this answer is quite easy if you know or understand the concept well. This is the exam question that I have seen. This is live question I am pasting here with some modification in the language, minor modification, because it's not we don't allow to give the exact language of the question. But let's say we have modified the similar way. If customer has enrolled for multiple availability zones, so each CSP provide the different availability zones for the high availability, like one is in UK, one is France, one in India, one in US, and want to replicate application data to different availability zone. So they want to replicate their application data in the second availability zone. Which one would help? Will the DNS EC will help? We haven't seen that, but but it is more of DNS. DNS is for the domain name, and this more on the website listing side, that the DNS mapping. TLS, DLP and DRM. So DLP and DRM is data security data link protocol. Though even though we don't know or we haven't read, we are 100% sure it will be TLS, because if we want to replicate data from one zone to other, it is a movement of data over wire. If any data in transit or any data in motion, 100% answer will be TLS. But there are some tricky question also that I will show. This is next. This is the next question that I have seen with the slight modification in the language. We have seen this in the lecture 1 also, when we started our video series. The first 2 lecture I have shown this question, but that time I haven't given the answer. I will show the answer now. That the CEO decided to move some of their critical on-premise application on cloud, but want to manage logs via the on-premise system. So then cloud system should send a logs back to the on-premise system. So there's a data movement over the wire. What is your suggestion to maintain the confidentiality of the logs? So now they are asking for the confidentiality, and there's a data movement also. So as we have seen in the previous lecture, confidentiality only achieved via the encryption. So there must be encryption in the option. So if there is no encryption in the option, we will roll out those options first thing. So always, if there is no correct, better way is to roll out the wrong answer. Now there is options to encrypt it before sending the SIM. Use encryption and TLS. So in exam there will be near match or multiple correct answer, but we have to select the best. So this is the best option. We can use encryption and TLS both. And if you use TLS, definitely it gives the data security, confidentiality, integrity. But the encryption of the data is the additional way of securing this one. So there is a TLS only. That's correct answer, but TLS with encryption is a much better answer. So that's for today, and that I hope you have understood the concept well now, and I'm expecting that there will be 3 to 4 questions in exam from this slide itself, and I hope you will able to answer it. So thank you for watching the video. If you want to enroll for our dedicated class, please reach me over the email or the comment. Like my channel, subscribe my channel. Thank you.